Welcome. This is our Windows App SDK vector graphics application. We will not be recovering all the controls that we covered in the complete playlist. This will be just straightforward. I'm going to show you how to put the code in place. I'm not going to explain anything. Our final application is lacking. It will not replace Inkscape, Adobe Illustrator, or CorelDRAW. It really won't do any of the good stuff we want. It only has isolation mode, meaning that you have to have something selected in the tree view to actually move it around. Our Bezier curves are true Bezier curves, so they're not like those in Illustrator or Inkscape or CorelDRAW. And we will be just hitting the ground running, putting everything in place, putting the code in place. Like I said, I'm not going to re-explain it. You can go back to the tutorial, the previous playlist. I think I'm going to put these videos in that playlist at the end of them, and then make another standalone playlist of just these videos. So let's get to it. Or let's get going. Let's create a project. Windows UI blank Windows App SDK project, not one of the experimental ones. I'm calling mine MVVM VG tutorial, plain and simple. I'm going to jump into the NuGet project, the NuGet packages, as soon as we create it, so we can update the Windows App SDK libraries. Put the Visual Studio on the wrong screen. So tools, NuGet, manage NuGets for this project, mine. There's everything we need, but I need to update for some reason. And comically, I already have it downloaded, so it just immediately updates. It may take a couple seconds for you to update, so go ahead and pause the video and let it download the Windows App SDK, the latest version. Doing a quick build up front to make sure there are no problems. Going to the Solution Explorer, I'm going to add my folders. Commands, common, converters, or controls, converters. Type one thing, say another. The model. The pages. We're only going to have one page, but I'm going to go ahead and create an interface so we can work with the frame a little bit in the view model. In the common, I'm going to add a class called ArrayCommon. I'm going to take this code that we've already done. It's in a number of my other tutorials. I'm going to scroll over it slowly once I paste it in here, and you can pause the video, copy down the code. We mainly need the add, the inserts, and the remove at. So in the clone arrays, although we're not using the clone array, so you need the add right there. The first add, you don't really need that second add. We're not going to use add range. The remove at, you need insert before, insert after. And let's see here. Those are mainly for jagged arrays. And you need need the clone array. It's not, like I said, we're not going to use it, but if you expand this project, you're definitely going to need the clone array. And you can add it in the review. Remove, it's helpful. All right. This is all setup stuff. So the notifier, I know you've seen if you took the other tutorials, you're very familiar by now with the very simple notifier. It's going to be almost identical to the other ones. If you want to, you can just put this video on double time for the setup, the majority of the setup. If you're taking the other tutorial. This is where all the magic happens. It's available even in Windows Form, the iNotifier, or a version of it for Windows Forms. Microsoft didn't talk about the binding so much during the beginning of C# and Visual Basic.NET because they were still working out the idea. So, and there it is, very simple. So our base view, of course. The base view is the view of our view model. If that's not redundant enough for you, I don't know what is. At our main view, take a main window, we're now going to add the iParent item, the base item, the layer, the segment, and the segment part. We'll add those in a second. Base item inherits from the notifier. It will have a name, property. It will have children. It will have a parent. IntelliSense just keeps kicking me out of the property. I don't know why it is so insistent on kicking you out of the property. Had to look up all the good stuff on iParent. Move child, new child, move top, move up, move bottom, move down. And a selected item property. That's our interface. Selected item is the base item. Alright, Microsoft, you're just messing with me now. But as I've already said, if this is the future of AI, I am not worried about Skynet. It will not take over the world. It is far too slow. Just copy and paste the observable collection. You can manage to put a item in the main view to make it your base item, but that makes the tree view act weird. So I just like to go ahead and put another collection and another selected item in the main view. Set the selected item to the first item, or null if there are no other items. Known how to layer visual. Haven't put the layers in there yet, so I couldn't really do that. Get to it in just a second. We've already covered all this in the previous tutorials, so I'm just trying to go as fast as possible. I mean, this is about an hour and a half worth of tutorials, or maybe 2.5 hours worth of tutorials. But you get a baseline vector graphics editor out of it, and you get an MVVM architecture that comes from Microsoft. Although it's not the entity framework, this is totally a very good tree view, list view, navigational MVVM architecture. And yes, I've modified it to my way of thinking, but not by much. At least in this tutorial, not by much. So now when we move to the top or the bottom, we're just doing a while loop to loop through all the children. Because when you do exchange on move top and move bottom, if you move the bottom item to the top, then the former top item is now on the bottom. Add our layer, our segment, and then segment part. I changed the name of it. I hated the path part name. I don't know why. But now I think I should have named it segment path instead of segment part. I do plan on returning this to this within the next month or so and adding export to SVG and get a bunch of good stuff in here. But with the base Windows App SDK vector graphics stuff, we cannot do clipping except with a rectangle clip, which is really, really a letdown. Extreme disappointment. But we can use either Win2D or we can use the web view and just create SVG all the time and display it in a web view too. So, and since all of our move items are on the base item, it doesn't re-implement them. They're already there. Come on. You see, I stopped trusting the AI, the IntelliSense, because it keeps getting everything so wrong. Yeah, I don't have that yet. Hold on. Now it has it. Give it a default name and add it in. And set it to the selected item. Or set the selected item to it, excuse me. And we have to make it a parent item. Copy our selected item over there. Yeah, we could have put down the base item also, but when you get more advanced with vector graphics, you want the selected item to be typed, or you want to know that positively the selected item in my segment is a path, the selected item in my layer is a segment. So for right now, so at this point, it may seem redundant having two selected items and not just putting it in the base item class. But later on, if you start working with this, it makes sense. And at the end of this, we will be drawing basic vector graphics, very basic. But I want to get this to the same level I had my old Windows form application. pretty advanced. It had all the good stuff. Exported XP, exported SVG, exported to exported is Southern for exported, by the way. But it exported to PNG, exported full sprite sheets. I want all that. Let's get our commands in here, and then we'll work them out in the next tutorial, the next video. Let's just get them all in here. Delete child, new layer, move bottom, move down, move top, move up. And let's get our controls in here because I don't want to do them again. So you need to just filter by. I didn't do it while I was saying it. You need to filter by Web UI and select that user control, the non-experimental one. So we'll need our base item control, our layer control, our segment control, and our segment part control. And let's get our converters in there. We will have two converters. We will have a Boolean visibility converter. So it's a bull, like a bovine. It's taking so long to add that there. Don't know why. And then we'll need our selected item converter, control that will return our control. Hold on. Yeah, we want our iPage interface. That will be so we can get the page that's currently selected from the content frame. And then we want a base page. So we'll only have one page, but we're going to implement this like we're bosses. Like we're going to do something in the future with this. And let's get rid of that button stuff. And let's put our content frame in here. Our frame, which will be our content frame. So when this navigates to our page, sometimes we will need to get, because of sizing problems in Windows App SDK right now, it's still really new. We will need to get our page, and we will need a method to call in there to tell the page to check your sizes. Resize all your content properly. I was going to use a split view, but that has a sizing problem. So instead I ended up creating, only takes a couple minutes to create with a grid, creating a split view that has a command panel on each side. The split view only has one command panel, but we'll have two. We'll have one on the left, one on the right, as you can see in the preview at the beginning of this video. And that is just about it. We have a few things to add here and there, but if you got something out of this, like and subscribe. Mainly subscribe. All glory be to God, and I will see you in the next video.